have a little bit of a different approach to social media marketing in that it's really focused on relationships. It's all about building connections, building trust, and building rapport with people, not about pushing your marketing message out there over and over. I'll talk about that in a little bit. What I'm looking for right now is a big shift within this industry. Unfortunately, the direct selling industry as a whole has been kind of slow to take on social media. There's been a little bit of a fear that it will change the way we do business. Parties are always your primary source of business in a party planning company, correct? Right? And that's always going to be your focus. But there's a fear that if people take things online, we'll lose that part of it. I say it's just the opposite. It's a way for you to meet people that you can then do your parties with, do your one-on-ones with, build your team in new areas, and build more relationships. I always had a strong home party business in my business, but I still built teams throughout the country because of what I was doing on the internet. So flash forward till just about 4 years ago, and I was at the point where I needed to leave my company for a variety of reasons, and people said, why don't you take this to the internet? And I was like, okay, I'll try that, to teach people how to do this. And that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. So I have been there as a direct selling leader. I had shot straight up to the top of my company within a couple of years. I know what it's like to have a large team, to be holding conference calls, to be doing 2 parties a week, to be meeting people about the business, and then be thinking, how am I going to fit this into my life? So the other part we're going to talk about today is the timing and how to work this into your busy life with your kids, your job, leading your business. But what I'm looking for as far as a shift in direct sales is people kind of got on board once Facebook became really popular, but they didn't know really what to do. Because again, the training really hasn't been there on best practices. And what I see a lot of direct sellers, not you guys, because you all are perfect, but what I see... But what I see is people are so excited about their product, they're just saying, buy my stuff, join my team, book a party, and they're turning people off. So I have some strategies and techniques that I want to teach you that will help you build connection, build trust and rapport with the people that you're connected to, and actually get more sales, reach your grand plan goals. It's all out there for you, but there is a subtle difference to how you need to be working your business. All right, so before we get started, I would want to request that you connect with me in some way. Some of you who absolutely love social media are probably sitting there sneaking on your smartphones right now. I say don't sneak. I love it when you do that. In fact, I've been connecting with some of you already, especially on Instagram. Oh my gosh, I love the pictures that I've been seeing. But go ahead and take out your smartphones. Feel free to comment, tag me, post. You can follow me on Twitter. You can check out my business page. I didn't put my Instagram up there, but it's Karen M. Clark. We'll talk about the different platforms in a minute, but please feel free to connect with me. You have my permission to do whatever you want on social media today during this hour. So a couple more things to go over before we actually dive in deep. What we're doing, as Mary mentioned, we are going to be having a webinar just for people who attended the conference. On that webinar, we're going to get really deep into the nitty-gritty how-to. I will be there with my screen on the computer walking you through every single step of the way. So as I mentioned techniques, good, I'm glad you like that. As I mentioned websites and things, don't worry about writing down every little detail or what did she say, what was that link, because you're going to get all of that information later and you'll be able to process it when you're at home. Okay, good. I'm glad you like that. You know what? Like I said, I've been in your position. I've been at conferences. I know what it's like to be so overwhelmed with information, and your job is to go home and start implementing it right away, and then you look back at your notes, you're like, what was it? How am I supposed to remember all of this? So please relax, just enjoy, and take in this information. There's a couple of core concepts I'd like you to walk away with, really solidly knowing, but the little details you'll get later during the webinar. Social media is really just one part of your marketing mix. Don't go crazy with it. I have seen people that they're like, I'm going to do Facebook now. And then they're on there all day long. Remember that your team is watching you and your future team is watching you. Your friends, your acquaintances. If they see you on Facebook all day long posting about your business, when they do get ready to join you, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to think this is how we do it. We go on Facebook all day long and we post about our business. And that's not what it's about. So use it subtly. Don't go crazy. On the other hand, those of you how many of you have not, you're like, I don't want to do social media, have not, go ahead and it's okay to admit it. Anybody not gone there yet at all? because I know you're out there. I'm going to actually give you, and I know some of you are embarrassed because you're like, I'm not doing Facebook, but then you tell people like, what do you mean you're not doing Facebook? I would actually like to give you permission to not do it. If you're okay with your business and everything's going great, and you don't want to make that grand plan fast, stay off social media. But if you want to accelerate your business, it's going to make a giant difference. What I'd like to, though, mention is I'm not going to tell you you need to be on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all of those things. I say pick one and get really good at it. You'll find your tribe, you'll find your people, and you'll start getting results with that one aspect. And I'm going to actually teach you how to do it in only 15 minutes a day. That is the key. Because I know, again, what it's like to have a busy life. Like, I have a real life. I don't live on Facebook. All right, and the other caveat I would like to mention is that there are rules. So if you haven't already done this, for sure make sure you check out your company's policy regarding internet marketing or social media policies. Every company has got one, and you want to make sure you're not representing yourself as the company. In fact, when I first found out I was coming here, I went to look up Party Light to see who had fan pages and things like that, and I found a whole bunch of them called Party Light. Don't do that. It confuses the consumer, and it doesn't do any good for the rest of us, right? The other thing to be aware of is that each social media site has its own rules. So make sure you check out those. When you sign up, they make you check the box saying you've read the terms of service, and I know you're not reading the terms of service. I do that too. I usually go back later. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I sign up for? But read that. They change, actually, especially on Facebook. The terms of services change, and you might not even know it. So be aware of that. You're responsible for knowing what the rules are, because you don't want your account shut down, especially if you spent a year building that presence up. Let's talk about the different types of social media. There are pretty much three challenges that I see people having with social media. It's the tools, which ones to use, the techniques, how to use it, and then time, how to save time and not use it and, have it take so long. So there are 5 different social media tools that I'm going to talk about. They're probably the most popular, I would say. And then we'll focus probably the most on Facebook